A beautiful evening on Shine TV and the Dr. Love Show. I am Na Ashoko Ajay and I am your host for the Dr. Love Show. And as usual, I do this with my favorite doctor, Pastor Patrick Otrilate. But before I introduce Pastor to you, before you see him in the house, let's come to our proud sponsors. Fredco Constructions Company Limited, Bueller's Collection at Stema Community 2, opposite the Santa Barbara School, and then Apostle Felix Henry Dowu of the Abundance Grace Apostolic Church, Tema Community 1. God richly bless them for holding us high, for us to be able to come your way all the time. Once again, this is the Dr. Love Show and Shine TV. I am Na Ashoko Aji, and with me here in the studios is the famous Pastor Patrick Otrilate. He is the Dr. Love. Dr. Love, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Really, really good to be back. And as we are seated, our people are all ears and their eyes are wide open to listen to and to view whatever we have for them. But interestingly, we have a story for the day that is really interesting. But like we always do, we'll just go straight to the story so that we'll take it on from there. This one, right, so the story of the day goes like, Dear Dr. Love, my wife of 9 years is threatening divorce over an oral sex obsession. She never requested it before, but now demands it constantly, disrupting our family life. I introduced it to revitalize our sex life, but she's become fixated. Despite my exhaustion and irritation, she insists on multiple sessions, even when the kids are around. I have refused, and now she's demanding divorce. I fear she's lost her senses. Please help me bring her back to reality and save our family's sanity. Our 3 kids and I need her back to normal.
Wow. Wow. This is one of the most interesting stories I've ever heard someone.
That's why I began by telling you that this one.
Wow. Interesting. So the wife is threatening divorce because the husband wants to discontinue what he started.
Yes.
With their sex life by introducing the oral sex bit.
Exactly. And the wife is doing too much to the extent that even when the children are around, she still wants it.
Wow.
And this is why the man is deciding to cut some part of it, but she doesn't want to agree, therefore calling for a divorce.
I think in the first place, let's sound this caution to our viewers. You see, in life, anything you are not ready to sustain, don't start.
Bam.
That's all. Of course, he can give the excuse that he never thought the wife would get so much addicted to it. Probably if he had known, he wouldn't have started in the first place.
Right. And his intention was even pure to
to spice up
their sex life.
You see, sometimes I remember during one of our episodes, we had to talk about lack of sex and lack of intimacy and all of that. See, sex in every marriage is a very important component of the marriage. And married couples need to learn how to handle the subject matter of sex because it plays a huge role in the marriage. How far the marriage can go to a large extent or to some extent is dependent on how your sex lives is as a couple. Okay. Probably he thought he needed to find a way to spice up their sex life. But you see, in spicing up the sex life, he should have done it cautiously. Okay, doing it cautiously here means if there is something that you know your partner is not privy to, in introducing it to your partner, be very careful how you go about it. Because if you don't go about it well, the good intent you have for introducing it would turn out to be something else altogether. This reminds me of a movie I watched, and it goes along that same pattern. This lady during her relationships got exposed to gentlemen or men who made her do a lot of wild sexual things. Now she got married, and the husband wasn't that type. So she started finding it difficult coping with the sex lives in the marriage. And you know what the man did? The man took his time, started educating the wife. And there was a time the man called the wife and told her that, look, you are my wife. I love you. I respect you. All the wild things you talk about, or you told me you experienced with your ex and all of that, I feel that once you're my wife, I need to respect you. They are not things you do to a woman you respect.
Exactly.
So if I have married you as a way of showing my respect, as a way of adoring you, as a way of loving you, I feel when I do these things to you, I'll be disrespecting you. I'll be making you less of a human. I don't think doing these things with you or doing those things to you and for you as part of spicing up our sex life would be a sign of love for you. And good enough, the woman understood, and with time, they had to meet each other halfway. And meeting each other halfway had to do with the fact that the woman understood that if this is how the man or her husband wants to show love to her, she should accept it that way. So with time, the lady got used to it, and then they went back to enjoying their sex lives. So I think the man needs a lot of time to talk to the wife to make her understand that, look, I didn't do this for it to become part of our sex lives. It will be difficult though, but that is how he has to go about it. Because probably if he had known that introducing the wife to this oral sex bit would go this far, maybe he wouldn't have done it. And even if he has to employ the science and all those things, the health effect and the health consequence of sex, this oral sex and all those, he should do it. Okay, and maybe probably he himself would also have to go through this kind of reorientation of mindset and all of that. Because in the first place, why would you want to use oral sex to spice up your life? Come to think of the health side of it. Why would you want to use oral sex? Okay, because scientifically, if you want to go into the science and all of these things, it's not even healthy for you to be engaging in oral sex with your partner. It's not healthy. The reason why it's not healthy, for instance, is that for the men, when you get used to this oral bit, and normally during this oral sex, for the women, they want to be licked. They want the man to take their tongue out there, lick them, and then out of, or from the licking, they would just be enjoying this, how do you call it, this ecstasy and all of that. But you see, in doing that, there is, how do you call it, there are a set of microorganisms naturally God has put under a woman or around the genital part of the woman. So as you continue licking, don't forget you are just taking these germs into your body. You are just taking these germs into, and with time, your guess is as good as mine. And for the women who would want to be sucking their husbands' penises and all of these things, there are side implications to it. There are health implications to these things.
I'm sure some of them, not most of them, some of them would be aware, but for the enjoyment part of it, which they feel is so fun to do, they put those health implications
So
aside.
you enjoy today and then tomorrow you put your health at risk. Which of the two do you like? And when it comes to sex, most of the time, it is the women who are more likely to enjoy, or because for us the men, once the man ejaculates, all the rest he doesn't care about it. What he is most concerned about is for him to ejaculate, and once he ejaculates, he's okay. So it is the women who need time, who need to be psyched up, because trust me, there is no other gift you can give to a woman than to help her reach orgasm after you have been able to satisfy her sexually. And there are a lot of things you can do for her to reach orgasm. You need to make time, understand her body, know where to touch, know the things to do so that you would arouse her sexually before you just get up and then you insert or you enter into her. No.
There are people too that do not like those foreplays and stuff.
And
I know of one
good.
or two.
That is what I'm saying, that it's an art. You need to learn.
Okay.
It is only selfish men who will just be interested in themselves. Oh, once I ejaculate, I'm okay. No, but don't be selfish. Mr. Husband, please don't be selfish. Don't be selfish. Understand your wife. Know the part of her body to touch. If you don't know, ask her. Because every woman has parts of her body that when you touch, you arouse her more. And the more she gets aroused, the more she becomes ecstatic, it would help her reach orgasm faster. And all these things are things you can learn to help spice up your sex life. Why would you want to get into oral sex? With all the help, the health implications, with all the side effects and all of these things, why would you want to get there? So I think he first of all, the husband has to work on his psyche. Wherever he learned this oral thing from, you see, he has to go back and then unlearn what he has learned. And after doing that, he should sit the woman down. Whatever he did to get the woman or the wife so engrossed in this oral sex thing, he has to undo it to let the woman or the wife. It is. It should be. Because again,
to undo what he did to make the woman.
You see, because he stated clearly that he did that with the motive of spicing up their sex life, which means that there were things they were not doing right when it came to their sex life before he introduced this whole oral sex bit. So if whatever they were doing that were not helping make their sex life become enjoyable and pleasurable, they should go back to the drawing table. Okay? They should go back to the drawing table, discuss those things, and look for other alternatives to spice up their sex life. Because again, this oral sex thing is not sustainable. It will not be sustainable. And the long-term effect of it is going to be very dire. And I don't think any of them are ready, or any of them is ready to live up to the dire consequences of this oral sex thing. And you see, there are lots of people out there who are engaged in this oral sex thing. Look, again, if you feel you want to enjoy your sex life, there are a lot of things you can do to spice up. And of course, we're having this discussion in the context of marriage. We are not advocating for, how do you call it, promiscuity. We are not advocating for people to go and start exploring these things and all of that. No, because sex should be enjoyed in the context of marriage. Okay, so once you are married, sit down with your spouse, get to know each other sexually, find out from your husband, find out from your wife, what are the things that when you do, you arouse me? What are the things that when you do, you turn me on? Get to know all these things. Talk, communicate. And once you do that, communication is very, very key, my dear. It is very, very key, especially in the context of sex. Because, look, if maybe one woman would love for a man to touch the breast before she gets aroused, to another woman, when you touch the breast, you turn her off. So everybody and the way God has designed her body to respond to stimuli and all of those things. Get conversative with your husband. Get conversative with your spouse. When it comes to the men, ask them.
Sometimes when you pay attention, you can find out.
Exactly.
But being so selfish to their own desires, to know, they cannot even pay attention.
And most of the time, it is the men who become victims of these things. Okay? Again, once we are created to always give out, donate. So once he gets anywhere to donate, he's okay. And after donating, that is it. He doesn't care whether the wife is satisfied, whether the wife enjoyed the sex, whether the wife is happy or not. Once he ejaculates and he releases, he's okay. Oh.
But they'll be the same people to be angry when the woman doesn't wait for him to be okay.
You see, so I think, just as you mentioned, I think communication is very, very key. And sometimes, let's be sensitive to each other's emotions. Let's be sensitive to each other's emotional needs. Let's be sensitive to each other's sexual needs, so that we don't get focused, or we don't focus on just ourselves, and then we want to leave the other party hanging along the line. No, because if we do and do it well, both of us would enjoy the sex and would both be happy. And this would prevent us from trying to explore wild things that would, at the end of the day, endanger our health and all of that. And that is what my brother is now encountering. So he should sit the wife down, okay? Whatever gear he has gone to change to let the wife go out of control, he has to talk to the wife, educate the wife, and let the wife know that look, there are other things we can do to spice up our sex life other than this oral bit, okay? To the extent that even when the children and the kids are around, she would want it. Come on. Come on. See, if they don't take care and they are not fortunate enough and any of these kids chance on them, you can just imagine the kind of um, 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 message they'll be sending these kids. Okay, so Mr. Husband, sit your wife down, talk to her. If there's anything that is contributing to her to quote unquote fall in love, overly in love with this oral sex thing, please disabuse her mind, educate her on this thing, and give her a new form of education that would help the two of you get a better sex life than resorting to this oral sex thing.
And how about the wife? What do we tell him? What does
Well,
the man tell her to be able to
you see,
keep the
I'm very sure that there was something about the oral thing that excited her. Okay, because like I said, normally for the women, when it comes to this oral thing, it's about using the tongue to lick the private part. More especially when they lick the clitoris and all of these things. There are several ways to stimulate the clitoris other than using the tongue. Okay, there are several ways to stimulate the clitoris other than using the tongue. And maybe we will have to do sex education one of these days, which would solely be dedicated to married couples. So during that episode, if you know you are not married, please maybe would send a caution from the start of the episode that
then
this is for married
we
couple.
cannot control that one. Oh, how can you control those watching? And maybe it can go out for the whole public so that those that want to get married, like they are
Okay.
now coming to
Okay.
get married,
Yes.
would also
Yes.
learn from
Yes.
it.
But my dear married couples out there, if you want to spice up your sex life, and you see, when we talk about intimacy in marriage, it goes beyond sex. There are things you can do with your spouses that have better benefits or that have benefits that outweigh sexual pleasure. Let us also explore those areas. Let us also get into those things. At times, you can just get out with your spouse, sit in a quiet place, talk heart to heart, have a heart to heart conversation. At times, you can take your spouse out. At times, there are many things we can do to
I
spice up
think it's the
intimacy in the marriage.
education too that we are missing.
Yes,
It's part of
yes,
the problem.
yes. And if
We
we
really need that
resort to
education.
only sex as a way of building intimacy, we will miss it big time.
So we really need the education. I
Yes,
think the
yes.
education must come on.
Sure. Maybe we'll take one time to dedicate it to educating our married couples out there on how to build intimacy and how to spice up our sex lives in all of these.
Most importantly, and I believe they will be glad to watch and listen to this on one of our episodes.
Sure.
So for your last words, or anybody
Well,
wants to add
finally,
something.
I would want to encourage our married couples out there. Marriage is beautiful. Sex is a key component of marriage. Let's do everything possible to try as much as we can to keep our sex lives alive, to build intimacy so that we can have good marriages and we can have solid marriages. I want to also take this opportunity to send a big shout out to my lovely wife out there, Lady Mrs. Otrelati. I want to say thank you so much and God bless you. Another one also goes to the president of FGCI, Bishop Della, and also FGCI member Solution Chapel Tema Newtown. I want to say thank you so much. God bless you, and I love you very much.
A very big thank you to all our viewers on Shine TV and all those that are following me personally. The love is massive and I really do love you too. But the most important thing you need to do is to like, share, and invite others to also come and follow and do same to push the brand. Big thank you to the God Almighty for giving us a clear weather to be able to come your way, and to our proud sponsors, Apostle Felix Henry Dowu of the Abundance Grace Apostolic Church, Bewless Collection, Tema Community 2, opposite the Santa Barbara School, and Fredco Constructions Company Limited. Thank you to Mr. Shine for also being active all along in our episodes. And thank you too for logging in. I am Na Shoko Aje, and that was Pastor Patrick Ochulati. See you on the next episode.